ordination of Monsignor Pizzaballa for 12 years Custos of the Holy Land. On June 24, he was appointed titular Archbishop of Verbe and Apostolic Administrator of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem by Pope Francis. The Franciscan community, pilgrims, and local Christians celebrated the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross in Jerusalem in front of the Calvary. The memory of Gethsemane's mystery turns 3. This prayer offers the religious, the pilgrims, and the local Christians a time of prayer and vigil before the Eucharistic Christ. 33,000 students in Israel returned to Christian schools between old and new challenges. The Cellar of the Salesians, opened since 1885, welcomed hundreds of guests on Saturday, September 10. Wines, cheese, and music, immersed in a fairy tale landscape.
I want to be a bishop for all, first and foremost, for those who are entrusted to me, but also for those who share the love and concern for the Middle East, for Jews and Muslims, for the poorest, for the entire church. These were Monsignor Pier Battista Pizzaballa's words on September 10th at the conclusion of the solemn liturgy in the Cathedral of Bergamo, Italy, in which he was ordained Archbishop. On June 24th, Father Pizzaballa, for 12 years Custos of the Holy Land, was appointed titular Archbishop of Verbe and Apostolic Administrator of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem by Pope Francis. The Mass was presided over by Cardinal Leonardo Sandri, prefect for the Congregation for the Oriental Churches, and concelebrated, among others, by the Patriarch Emeritus Monsignor Fuad Tual and by Monsignor Francesco Besci, Bishop of Bergamo. 30 bishops gathered for the occasion, in addition to the Apostolic Nuncios to the East, who traveled from Italy, Israel, and Palestine, but also from Jordan, Iraq, Turkey, and Bahrain. Many priests and religious also attended, including the many Franciscans of the Custody of the Holy Land, led by the current Custos, Father Francesco Paton, and by the Minister General of the Order of Friars Minor, Father Michael Perry. One of the Latin Patriarchate delegation was present as well, represented by Monsignor William Shamali and Monsignor Giacinto Bulus Marcuso. Many representatives of the churches of the Holy Land were also present. Monsignor Bokuni, Melkite Archbishop of Haifa, Monsignor Musa El-Haj, on behalf of the Assembly of Catholic Ordinaries of the Holy Land, Monsignor Nectorius, representative of the Greek Orthodox Church of Jerusalem, which donated the new Archbishop a pectoral cross as a sign of many years of friendship between the former Custos and the Patriarch of Jerusalem, Theophilus III. The Gospel was proclaimed in Italian and Arabic.
Non vi è albero buono che produca un frutto cattivo.
الإنسان الصالح من كنز قلبه الصالح يخرج الصلاح.
In his homily, Cardinal Sandri made reference to the presence of Monsignor Pizzaballa in the Holy Land.
Della Terra Santa.
In the Holy Land, where you, Father Pier Battista, lived and served for 26 years. The Word made flesh gave us the desire of God and made us aware of the salvation for humanity. He who is the Father's words fulfilled the revelation, speaking to us as friends. As in the Psalm, we also say, we were all born there.
Tutti là siamo nati.
Suffici tibi gratia mea. My grace is sufficient for you. It is the model chosen by Bishop Pizzaballa from the letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. On my coat of arms, he said, I wanted to have only 2 words, Jerusalem and the Word. In the end, he promised a personal commitment to the service to inspire peace that is not suppression of differences or non-aggression pact, but acceptance of others, willingness to listen and to dialogue so that diversity becomes opportunity for fellowship.
Mi impegnerò, dunque,
I shall therefore endeavor to persevere, so that thanks to my service, the peace of Jerusalem could become a reality in that land for the whole church and for mankind. Thank you, and I will see all of you in Jerusalem.
Vi aspetto tutti a Gerusalemme.
The liturgy of the Church dedicates some moments of the liturgical calendar to the memory of the main symbol of Christianity. On September 14th in the Western and Eastern Christian churches, Catholics celebrate the exaltation of the Holy Cross. The feast was founded in the 4th century when, according to tradition, the cross of Christ was discovered by the Emperor Constantine's mother, Saint Helena, who built the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre. Inside, at the altar of the Latin Calvary Chapel, the celebration brought together Catholics in front of the place that commemorates the death of Christ.
Estamos diante do Cristo que
We have before us Christ who, by dying, gives us his mercy, pouring blood and water from his sacred heart. The experience of the cross fascinates me and inspires me to seek Christ, who is all love, all mercy. The vicar of the custody of the Holy Land, who presided over the celebration, said that the mystery of the cross encloses both the suffering and glory.
La nostra vita è piena di difficoltà, è piena di sofferenza.
Our life is filled with hardships, suffering, and pain, and we cannot explain it unless we look at the cross of Jesus. However, we need something that will allow us to turn on the hope of victory over suffering, over evil. And the glorious cross of Jesus comes to our aid, showing us the victory of good over evil, of life over death, in all its fullness.
In tutta la sua pienezza, la vittoria del bene sul male, della vita sulla morte.
We just participated in the Holy Mass, in which I had the opportunity to see people from all over the world of different nationalities. And I thought the cross of Christ brings us all here, really, as one people who belong to the same body of Christ.
The celebration ended with a procession accompanied by the relic of the true cross of Christ from the Calvary to the chapel dedicated to the meeting of Jesus with Mary Magdalene. To experience this celebration in this place means to remember that our faith is a living and tangible faith. It is not just something that happened 2,000 years ago, but it is something that is renewed in our lives today, and here in the Holy Land, and there on the Calvary. Celebrating the exaltation of the Holy Cross is to understand that Christ has conquered death for me, and at the same time has won the victory over death in me.
For me, it was an opportunity to renew hope, because so many times I feel so helpless when I see others suffering. Here I also had the opportunity to pray, and I rediscovered that Christ is near us. He is aware of all our suffering.
Ele conhece, né, todo o nosso sofrimento também.
The Garden of Gethsemane on the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem attracts thousands of pilgrims every year. In the Basilica of the Agony, they have the opportunity to be in the place where Jesus suffered extreme anguish. But in addition to visiting this holy place and recalling the night of Holy Thursday, pilgrims have the opportunity to experience prayer, the same to which the disciples were invited by Jesus. Watch and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. Before Christ present in the Blessed Sacrament, silence becomes prayer. And the gospel message is remembered through readings and singing. In this place, Jesus reprimanded the apostles who were unable to watch, and while he was sweating blood, he taught everyone that in prayer you must obey God.
fondo il segreto di quest'ora.
After all, this is the secret of this hour. We too are called to adjust our will to that of the Father. Sometimes this is not easy to do, but it is the most important thing we can do. Because if we instead want God to attune to the wavelength of our will is very poor, very weak.
La nostra volontà è molto povera e molto fragile.
Prayer continues outside the church, around the Garden of Gethsemane. The faithful carry the Blessed Sacrament in procession with candles and torches, in an atmosphere reminiscent of what happened in that place.
I have never been on a celebration like this. It was amazing because of light and walking around the church, and the atmosphere was also magnificent.
The so-called Memory of Gethsemane's mystery turns 3 in September, and it offers an experience that takes you back thousands of years.
It is truly beautiful because the Lord, as he did 2,000 years ago, walks again through the Garden of Olives. It is the Lord. It is his real presence in the Eucharist, body, soul, and divinity that are present even now among us.
Anima, divinità, no? Che si fa presente anche adesso in mezzo a noi.
The group of pilgrims who wish to take part in the liturgical celebrations both at Gethsemane and in other Franciscan sanctuaries of the Holy Land are invited to visit the Christian Information Center website for information. The school year in Israel has already begun. On September 1st, in fact, 33,000 students returned to school, divided among 47 Christian schools in the country. A year that, unlike in 2015, started regularly, but with the same unsolved problems as last year. The strike lasted 27 days. Teachers and students protested on the one hand against the progressive decrease in Christian schools' funding, and on the other against the imposition of school fees applied to the families. A crisis that ended with a promise of 50 million shekels, 11.8 million euro, that the Israeli government promised to pay before March 31st, 2016, but that has not been received yet.
There has been an increase in the inadequacy of all schools because of the fact that the government has not paid, and also because we reduced the parents' fees, which contributed to increase our failure. We began the school year with a huge lack of funds.
A new academic year full of challenges, especially financial ones.
We are fully aware that an important mission awaits us, and we want to be able to see its benefits soon. First of all, the success of our students, and in the future, a more stable and united community. This year we are focusing on the consolidation of relationships between teachers, students, administrators, and parents, so that everyone can work together to achieve these important results.
Christian institutions considered among the best in the country for both their educational and social level.
The role of schools is to increase the awareness of students, encouraging them to the research and adjustment to rapid changes in general and the Middle East in particular. We are not mere spectators, we are actors. We participate in the growth of our students by teaching them moral values. I hope everyone could be an example for others to imitate as written in the Bible. So let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven.
Wine raises the soul and thoughts, and worries leave our heart, Pindar said in the 5th century BC. Over 2,000 years later, in one of the most injured territories by the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the thought of the Greek poet found a beginning of realization. On Saturday, September 10th, the first Silesian Cellar Wine Festival was held in the Kremisan Valley, 5 kilometers from Bethlehem and 12 from Jerusalem.
I witnessed the development of the wine products of Kremizan. It's really impressive. They come now to a point that really specific brands that are really in a very good level. Actually, I'm so happy that they decided to spotlight this place and ask people to come and join such a festival.
I'm here in Palestine for a year. I'm living in Jerusalem, and I wanted to come to this. It seemed like a good outing to meet people and just kind of, enjoy meeting new people and some good drink, of course.
The Kremisan Winery, located in one of the oldest architectural craft settlements of Palestine, opened in 1885 through the work of Antonio Belloni, an Italian missionary who arrived there 20 years earlier and who joined the Silesians shortly before he died. Since then, the production has grown and involved dozens of local workers, Christians, and Muslims. The festival was thus a point of both arrival and departure.
Far conoscere tutto il mondo il nome dei Salesiani.
We are letting the world know about the Silesians and the Kremizan. This is the story, the name of the product. This is the best product we have, and we are inviting people here. That is the idea.
E poi conoscenze, far la gente venire da noi, questa è l'idea.
The winery specializes in producing various types of wines, from the wines used for both Catholics and Orthodox Mass to the table wines, white and red wines. The dozens and dozens of people attending the event in the convent garden were able to taste the best wines, accompanied by cheese and nibbles and music of the in-jazz band.
We decided to choose a red one called Baladi that is planted here in Kremizan, and 3 other white varieties, Hamdani, Jandali, and Dabuki, with the advice of Dr. Riccardo Cottarella, one of the most famous winemakers in the world. Our 4th top wine is the Cabernet Sauvignon, international of course, which is implanted in our convent at Beit Jamal.
The collaboration and friendship with Italian wine experts, thorough training of employees, and the incessant work of the Silesians have allowed Kremisan to be, in the difficult socio-political context, a meeting place of excellence. In the meantime, the soul and the thoughts rise.
The mission of the Christian Media Center is to bring the message of the Holy Land, the land of the 5th gospel, to the world. Broadcasts, reports, news, documentaries, the latest happenings in the church and of the daily life of Christians in the Holy Land. You can help us in this mission, raising awareness and spreading the message of the Holy Land. Help us. Visit our website,